All right, let's do it then. Let's do it. Okay, guys, we are live. Let's get this old PowerPoint up and ready to go. Okay, well, there we are. So, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I hope we've all had a good week since our last session. Here we are on Hump Day again. We've got another Wednesday. We've got week 11, so we've only got one more left to do after this week, guys. So we can have a chance next week, a little bit of a recap, go back over anything that you think you'd like to sort of revisit, touch on again, and as we sort of promised last week, today we're going to be looking at just a little bit of research in sport and leisure. So we're going to be looking at developing and starting to design our own fitness class or our own exercise class. So like we mentioned last week, thinking about things like what do we want the main benefit or benefits to be to the members or the clients that come up and do our class. What do we want them to get from it? Can we think of something that makes it a little bit unique, sets it apart from other stuff that's sort of going on in the area or the classes that are already out there? So hopefully you might have a bit of an idea where you want to go with that already, but we can talk about that when we get there. So just a little bit of a recap from last week before we spin on. So we talked about time management and lots of different aspects of time management, and how we can use that to make sure that we can sort of keep up with our responsibilities, our social commitments as well, and how that also sort of transfers over to our health and fitness journey as well, and how things like, a little bit of problem solving can help if somebody's using the machine that you will need to use at the gym or something like that, so and same again, just managing your time, not spending 5 minutes on your phone in between sets to then realize, I haven't got time to go to the gym every night, as opposed to just going in and blasting for half an hour or even train at home, but of course we talked about that last week. If you do want to go back and check that out, by all means do, guys. That same link is available and will still work. So yeah, that's absolutely no bother. Even though that session isn't live anymore, you can go back and check at any point you want. Of course, we talked about certain specific clothing that we might need, either for certain specific sports or events or activities, and of course, how to make sure that we're safe and looking after ourselves through those activities. If we're going out for a walk in the middle of the winter, we want to make sure that we got sort of footwear with good grip, and of course, we want to make sure that we've got enough clothing to sort of stay warm and start warm. Water bottles and all of that sort of stuff as well. If we're swimming, towels, swimming cozy, maybe goggles, all of that sort of thing. And like I say, just making sure that we're setting ourselves up for success, really. Then we talked about a little bit of self-reflection and this skill of sort of looking at yourself and maybe in a bit of a different light and trying to identify a couple of strengths and weaknesses, strengths that you can lean into and develop further, and weaknesses that if you were to develop, you might get better at something that you'd like to get better at, so it can actually be one of the first steps of improvement, identifying sort of weaknesses in the first place. And we've all got them, guys. Like, let's be honest. We do all have weaknesses as well. It's just being honest with ourselves, I think, and like I say, really just being as sort of as open and honest as we can, because the only person that we're kidding really is ourselves. So then, like I say, we looked at improving our own strengths and identifying areas to improve as well. Today's session, like I say, we're going to be researching sport and leisure, creating our own unique session, or starting to create our own unique session. Some work-related skills that, again, can transfer quite nicely over into our fitness journey as well. So important skills to have in and out of the workplace. Presenting information and a bit of evaluation as well. So plenty to look forward to today, especially if we've got that little bit of a creative side. I've got to be honest, I don't. That's why I'm a drummer. I hit the things and make a lot of noise. I'm certainly not a creative type at all. But yeah, maybe you've got a couple of sort of seeds for ideas already. So looking forward to hearing what we come up with, guys. Actually, like I say, There's all sorts we could do with different fitness classes, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, at some of them that are already out there. Okay then, guys. Okay, so spinning on and starting with our work-related skills. So the following 4 slides will all contain 6 cards, 3 keywords and 3 descriptions. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to match the keyword with its description. Yeah. So organized, we're trying to look through one of these that matches the word that we're looking for. Yeah, something that's applicable. So organized. Do we think it's over time you'll become more organized within your job? Something you need when being told when being told something confidential. Something that you need to be at all times. Quality that help keeps you dedicated. Something that you need to be to achieve your goal, or a skill that can make your job easier and more controlled. And then we're going to do that for all of those guys. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes, and then I'll move on to the next slide and start breaking them down. Anybody that would like a little bit more time can just pause it and then catch up after. So just while you guys have a couple of minutes on this slide and trying to pair those up, as always, just to direct your attention towards the description box under the YouTube video that you're looking at in a minute. Of course, we've got a little bit of an intro. We've got a link to the workbooks and any workbooks that you might need. Like I say, let me know if you're missing any so far. I know I've had a couple sent back over already completed, so top effort, guys, keep on top of it. And my email is in there if you need it for whatever reason. I imagine you've probably got it by now, especially when we sending links out every week. But yeah, it's always there just in case you do need it. As always, we've got our link to the survey. It doesn't even take 30 seconds to do, guys, and it sort of helps us fill in some paperwork on this end on your behalf, saves you a job, and at the same time, your feedback's always important to us, guys. You know, we like to know what we're doing well and where we can improve even more, and it's always nice to know. So yeah, guys, don't forget to do the survey. Not even 30 seconds. As always, just put your answers on the form that link takes you to. If you click that link, and then the answers just come straight back to us. You don't have to download it, save it, fill it in, save it, send it back. None of that. None of that. Nice and easy, guys. Nice and simple. Takes all those steps out. So yeah, if you can just make sure we do that survey, and then of course, as always, we have a link to today's workout and today's fitness video as well. And today's, because I wanted to be thinking about some of the different exercises and stuff we can do in our classes, I've gone with it's an upper and lower body session. So you'll do like upper body workout for a little bit and then lower body workout for a little bit, and getting that good mix of the muscles that we're working. And just really, as you're going through it, you can think about sort of, okay, like I could take some of these ideas and put them into my own fitness class or whatever it might be, you know. So like I say, you might just get a couple of ideas, because you know, we're not just doing press-ups and squats, you know, albeit just a body weight workout as well. So yeah, it's entirely body weight. You don't need any extra kit. So by all means, go check out that workout, guys. If you're feeling something of a bit of a different pace, you know, maybe you fancy a bit of a stretch off this morning, or maybe you want to do your abs, or you want to focus on sort of cardio effect a little bit more and getting out of breath, just follow that link, and there's something on there for everybody, guys, as well. So yeah, that is the all the info in the description box. And of course, the last things really would be the link to all of our social pages, be it you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well, guys, as well. So yeah, a lot of information in that little box. A lot of it you might not need. It's there just in case you do. But yeah, don't forget to do that survey, guys, and definitely check out the fitness video at the end of today's session. It might just give you some ideas for your own little fitness class. Okay then. Okay, so let's see if we can get some of these paired up then, because we've actually got a answer slide. So organized, being organized is a skill that will make your job easier and more controlled. Yeah, you're organized, you know where everything is. You're going to be efficient. You're going to save yourself time, and it's going to be less chaotic if you know where something is. You're not like raking everything out looking for it, like me when I'm looking for a certain bit of paperwork, or when I'm looking for even my wallet. Sometimes if it's in a drawer, something, everything comes out. You know, so the more organized we can be, the better. I kind of myself, especially when I was PTing, I had to be as organized as I could, because it was the only way that I felt like in control of the situation, really, because there's that many moving parts, you know. Like I say, times can change, bits of kit that are available can change based on what time you're in the gym with your client and stuff like that. So being organized mean that I had the session plan ready for them coming in. I was organized enough to know where their last session plan was, so I could go back and check what they did. I knew what their weight is, I knew all of their stats, and just being nice and organized. And then again, when they said to me, "Oh, how heavy was I like 2 weeks ago?" I could just go bang bang, there you go, you were X amount of kilograms, rather than, oh, I've got it written down somewhere but I don't know where it is. You know, so yeah, being organized is definitely a skill that can make your job easier and more controlled. Again, it can carry over to our own fitness journeys as well. You know, it might be you're a little bit sort of stumped for time. You find that time is a bit of a barrier when it comes to getting to the gym or getting your exercise in. You know, in terms of organization, can you have your gym bag packed, ready to go? You got your trainers in there, your shorts or your leggings or your joggers or whatever it might be. You've maybe got your protein shake with your powder in, ready to go afterwards. You know, you've got a workout plan. You know what you're going to do. You're going to go in and do that machine 3 times, that one 3 times, that one 3 times, that one however many times, and then leave. You're not getting in the gym floor and going, right, where am I going to start today? Because you see that happen so much. It's like you come through the door and just like look around, say, oh, I might do a bit of this today, I might do a bit of that today. And you know, if time is a barrier for you, the clock's already ticking. You know, if not, great, take a little bit more time if you feel like you'd like to. But being organized, like I say, just helps you feel a lot more in control. You've packed your gym bag the night before rather than 6 o'clock in the morning before you leave for work. So you've made sure your swimming trunks are in there. You haven't got to the gym the next day and gone, I haven't got my swimming trunks, I haven't packed them. You know, so being organized goes a long way, guys. And remember, we're talking about not just a workplace environment here as well. Like I say, it can be our sort of interpersonal relationships, and sort of our social sort of commitments, like I say, or even our health and fitness journey as well. Okay, so confidence. To be confident, over time you will become more confident within your job. You learn what it is that you are supposed to be doing. You've done it before and you know that you can do it again, you know, to an extent. And confidence goes a long way, guys, you know, when we talk about our own sort of self-esteem, really, you know, and how comfortable we are walking into a room or instigating a conversation or speaking in front of others. You know, confidence makes a big difference in that scenario. You know, we've all been there where, you know, you've got to give a talk at the front of the class or in front of a group of people and you're not confident in what you're going to say. You know, or even just in yourself, you can sort of second guess yourself. You might be sort of delivering your presentation, looking down at the floor, not making eye contact with other people. And it makes so much difference when you've just got that little bit of confidence and a little bit of presence. And you know what, you can even, it's this idea of, like, sometimes they say, fake it till you make it. Like, you don't have to be and feel overly confident, but if you can just project that to other people, it goes a long way. You know, like, I remember the first ever fitness class I ran, I was dreading it. I was like, I don't know if I can control this many people. I don't know if I can keep everybody in the loop and knowing what they're doing. And for me, it was the fact that somebody else had chosen me to run that class that gave me a little bit of confidence. But, you know, if I'd have got on my spin bike at the front of the class and been sort of mumbling away, like, oh, go on there a little bit faster, just like no confidence at all, it doesn't get across to other people as well. And confidence and sort of enthusiasm that can come from that can be really infectious as well. Like, again, especially in the workplace or around other people as well. and people will buy in a lot more to what you're saying and doing if you seem confident when you're doing it. A little bit of a tangent actually, but funny story, man. I remember when I used to work in Argos, we used to have tellies plugged in on the shop floor, obviously, so people would come in, look at different tellies, see what the picture was like or whatever. And I remember one day some guy had come in, and he unplugged the telly, he picked the telly up, and he walked out. And I was like, that's a little bit strange. And someone was like, no, he must just be with, like, he must have come to have a look at it. He must. We were having a bit of trouble with those the other week. Maybe they're getting somebody out to look at it. And anyway, at the end of the day, this telly never came back. Somebody just walked in on the shop floor, unplugged it, picked it up, and carried it out. But because he looked confident when he did it, nobody asked any questions. And I was like, I can't believe, like, with a full staffing in the middle of the working day, somebody's walked in and picked up a telly and just give it legs with it. But like I say, a little bit of confidence goes a long way. But yeah, again, when it comes to our workout, when it comes to our fitness journey, you've got to have a bit of confidence in yourself. Like I say, your ability to do it. And when it comes to actually physically working out, confident in your ability to do an exercise. Because if you're already second guessing yourself before you pick the weights up, can I do it? Can I not? Chances are you're going to find it's the latter. That little bit of confidence goes a long way, and that might even just be enough to get you into the gym in the first place. When we think about why a lot of people are joining the gym, and majority of people that are joining the gym aren't happy with where they're at physically, that's probably why they're joining the gym. So a little bit of confidence can be difficult to come by just to even get to the gym in the first place. So a little bit of confidence goes a long way. And again, once you've done workouts a couple of times and been to the same gym a couple of times, you become much more confident over time within your whatever, repetition. Sort of get used to doing it, and something that used to be brand new eventually will be a little bit of routine. And if it's routine, you know that you've done it before, and you know that you've done it again and can continue doing it. Okay, then moving on. So understanding, something you need to be when being told something confidential. Yeah. So of course whenever somebody is trying to sort of open up to you and tell you something in confidence, the first thing that we need to do is be understanding and not make that person necessarily feel judged. Like I say, just being understanding of their situation, maybe trying to be a little bit sort of impartial as well, if you can. Put your own feelings to one side about the situation, maybe, depending on what it is. But yeah, we need to be understanding, guys, because at the end of the day, somebody's opening up here to try and give you some information, get something off their chest. If they feel judged straight away, then they won't do it again. They won't do it next time. And we should all be working to sort of create environments where people feel understood and happy to talk to each other, and open up to each other as well. That sort of transparency. So yeah, a little bit of understanding, especially when you are being told something confidential. Again, you'll find that it'll be applied in the gym. You might be speaking to somebody else who, you don't realize, but you never know. They might have like a disability or a condition, and they're saying, "Oh, I find this exercise hard," or "That thing that you saw me doing, I used to find really hard, but I'm slowly getting better at." Like I say, just a little bit of understanding as well, towards other people. It really does go a long way. It's something that I've had quite a lot, being somebody's first port of call with the gym. When I'm doing somebody's PAR-Q, which we've looked at as well. When we're doing somebody's PAR-Q, you find out all sorts of information sometimes, and as an instructor, you need to know this information, and you need that person to feel comfortable telling you that as well. So of course, as understanding as you can be, and certainly don't make them feel judged or jump down their throat. Okay then, so committed, to be committed, something that you need to be to achieve your goal. Yeah, if you're not committed to your goal, guys, no matter how long that commitment lasts for, you've got to be committed to it. If I say I'm going to put £4 on this month in muscle or whatever it might be. It's not going to happen if I don't change my food or my training. So I need to be committed. I need to put those things in place. I don't need to be sort of half thinking, right, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Like when we talk about our components of fitness, when we've said it's really hard to work on everything at once. So if you want to work on your muscular strength, commit to that. Work on that, get to the point where you're happy with that, and then move on to something else. Commit to something rather than sort of wishy-washy backwards and forwards. Am I going to? Am I not going to? I'm dieting this week. Am I going to do any food prep? No, I'm not. Even though that's probably going to mean that you're, how committed are you really to the end goal if you know what is required for that first step and you haven't even done that yet? Commitment is really the first step to moving in the right direction, and really getting somewhere. Same again. Like I say, not just within health and well-being, but that applies to our relationships and to our work life as well. Being committed, setting your mind to something, saying that you're going to do something, and then actually doing it. Got to be committed. Otherwise, a goal is just it's a dream. Really, a goal is a dream if you've got no steps in place to actually get there and reach it. Okay, to be professional, something that you need to be at all times. Yeah, and that's something we get a chance to talk about down the line a little bit, probably in the level 2, thinking about professionalism, especially as a instructor or somebody working in a gym environment. The same again, no matter what you're doing, even in a work environment, if you're making phone calls to customers or customer support and people phone you, you can't, be sat there swearing at them and effing and blinding and, saying, oh, I'll just go and find out a bit of information for you and just wander off and talk to a colleague for half an hour. And it's just not overly professional, guys, thinking about as well our appearance and stuff like, our personal space, respecting other people's personal space, like I say, being on time, turning up somewhere where you say that you're going to be there. It'd be no good me as a PT saying, right, I'll meet you here at 10 o'clock in the morning for your session, and I'll roll in a quarter to 11. It's just not very professional at all. So all those different things that we need to think about. Again, not quite so much in a fitness sense, because the majority of us aren't professionals, but trying to have a little bit of that sort of professional sort of mindset, can go a long way. And just thinking about the way that you might be sort of presenting yourself to others. And then the last one we've got on this slide is to be motivated, and that is a quality that helps keep you dedicated. We all know motivation briefly, and is at least briefly, I'm sure we've all known motivation for one thing or another, and that is the nature of motivation. It tends to be quite fleeting. It's never going to be there forever. There will be days where you don't feel motivated, but motivation is a skill and a quality that helps keep you dedicated. You need to be committed and you need to be dedicated to achieve your goal. But you've got to be motivated in the first place to set the goal and to keep chasing it as well. Especially there will be days where you don't feel like doing whatever it is that you need to do, be it work, be it a task, an assignment, a presentation, a phone call, whatever it might be. And again, it could be a workout, it could be a gym session that you've got to do, or a walk, or a run, or a fitness class, or maybe it's even just, even again, thinking about through lockdown, maybe you're just trying to exercise at home, do a little bit of something at home. Maybe you found motivation a little bit harder then, when you're trying to exercise in a position where the couch and the telly's like 2 meters away. So yeah, motivation will come and go. And I think to an extent, discipline could fall into the same bracket as well. Discipline being doing something even when you don't feel like doing it. Not everybody wants to go for a run every day. I'm sure Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't want to go and in the gym every day. But he's got really good motivation anyway, but you know, even then, even the most motivated people don't feel it every single day and every single time, you know. But it is definitely a quality that helps keep you dedicated and keep you on track as well. And then, like I say, a little bit of discipline. When motivation deserts you and leaves you high and dry, we need that discipline sort of to do it anyway. You know, it's exactly the same as sort of, I don't like doing the dishes, but I know if I don't do the washing up, there's going to be double the washing up tomorrow, triple the washing up the day after. You know, so it's a bit of discipline. I don't want to do it. I'm not motivated to do it, but I know it needs doing anyway. So there's a little bit of discipline involved there as well. Okay, guys, one more time through them. So we've got six new words. We've got 6 new words, and we're going to do exactly the same again. So we'll just take a couple of minutes again, see if we can pair any of those words up with their meaning, and then we'll break it down and go through as a group again and pair those up. So I'm just getting caught up with the chat just in case. Oh, hello, Wib. Nice to have you back in this morning, buddy. I hope you're well, man. Hope you're doing good. So yeah, Wib, we're just trying to say when you came in a couple of minutes ago. So what we're doing, mate, we are thinking about these skills that we have and need and can work on to achieve our goals, be it fitness or something else, and just be an overall sort of more enjoyable presence, I guess. So yeah, you know, some of these skills on here, you know, to be respectful, to be enthusiastic, be able to use teamwork, being polite, bit of problem solving, being able to use your initiative, they go a long way. They do go a long way. So can we pair these up with these little descriptions underneath? So I'll have another 30 seconds or so, and I'll start breaking them down. And then, as always, if anybody wants to take a little bit more time to finish up the last couple, you can just pause it and catch up. What's going on with Wib this week? Have you got much on, buddy? Are you still using the gym? Have you been back to the gym? Right, let's start working through these then, everybody. So let's have a look. Right, so same again, we've got these paired up already. So respect is something that is expected towards your work colleagues and clients. Sort of goes without saying, guys. We should be respectful to everybody, really. You know, if you are in a restaurant and you know a waiter or a waitress brings you your food, no reason not to be respectful there. You know, it's exactly the same with friends, family, and in this case, work colleagues and clients as well. Giving them a little bit of respect goes a long way to those sort of personal connections. Enthusiasm, or to be enthusiastic, a way of expressing that something is interesting or exciting to make someone else feel excited, enthusiastic, or impressed. It's like we talked about a minute ago, and it sort of links in with confidence a little bit, where if you're giving a presentation, and if I was saying, yeah, my favorite band in the world is so and so, and they're really good, and you know you should listen to them. But like, if you don't want to listen to them, then don't. You know, it doesn't sound very enthusiastic, does it? You're all probably not sat there going, oh, what band was he talking about? I'm desperate to listen to them, you know? So like I say, a bit of enthusiasm goes a long way. If I'm coming in saying, oh, have you heard this new album that this band's dropped? It's, you know, I've been listening to it all week. You know, I've got a couple of favorite tracks. Someone's much more likely to be like, oh, tell us a little bit more. And exactly the same in our, like I say, in our relationships as well. A little bit of enthusiasm. Coming back to me as a PT, if I was on the spin bike at the front of the class being like, go on then, pedal, go up the hill, but if you don't want to, that's fine as well. You know, you know what, it would have been like pulling teeth. It would have been the longest spin class anybody had ever been to, you know, as opposed to, you know, when I'm sort of at the front of the class doing what everybody else is doing. If we're sprinting, I'm sprinting. If we're doing a hill climb and we're stood up over the pedals, I'm doing exactly the same. You know, try and put a little bit of excitement into your voice, get everybody sort of revved up. And like I say, just enthusiastic, looking forward to it, whatever it is. You know, again, if you're giving a presentation, on whatever it might be. Again, thinking back to some of the presentations that we've done in the past, you know, it might be to talk about like a sport that you really like. You know, like I really like my football and my basketball. So if I was trying to sell football to somebody, you know, I could be like, well, it's 11 guys. You just kick a ball around the field and try and score more than the other team. You know, or you know, a little bit of enthusiasm. You know, you've got sort of like you've got battles all over the pitch going on. You know, you've got wingers trying to get past defenders. You've got centre midfielders trying to figure each other out. You know, it's you know, did you see that game that had a really exciting finish? You know, goals past the 90th minute or whatever it might be. A little bit of enthusiasm, you know. Like I say, it goes a long way in getting other people to buy into whatever it is that you're doing. And again, like I say, as a PT, as a fitness instructor, I always sort of had to be enthusiastic to get people sort of revved up and to buy into the session as well. But same again. Like again, if you're in the gym yourself and you're doing an exercise and somebody comes over, oh, will you tell us a little bit more about that? You're like, oh, it's just a bicep exercise, you know? Okay, then see you later. Or you could say, do you know what? This exercise pulls your biceps into a different position, which works a different head, which makes this part of your arm work harder, which is going to change the shape further down the line, you know? And like I say, just show a little bit of enthusiasm for it, for the exercise in itself. And like I say, it rubs off on people so much more. Okay, what have we got then? Polite, to be polite. So kind of links in with being respectful as well. I think, you know, that this idea of manners are definitely involved in being respectful as well. Oh, in fact, we haven't done teamwork. We'll stay on polite and we'll do teamwork after. So to be polite helps you get along with other people. You know, again, if you can, if somebody holds the door for you, you know, that even if you have to do that awkward run, you know, where you're like a little bit too far away from the door, but they still hold it for you, so you have to run to hurry up. At least say thank you. Do you know what I mean? Else, you know, they'll not do it for you next time, but chances are they might not do it for anybody next time. You know, like, oh, well, sort of got treated like that last time. Cheers. You know, so being polite can certainly help you develop those sort of personal connections and those relationships with others. And yeah, definitely ties in with the idea of being respectful as well, and just thinking about how we are addressing others who are, you know, either our superiors, in which case, like in a work environment, our managers or whatever, we need to speak to those in a certain way and be polite. Otherwise, you're probably getting yourself sacked. You know, your colleagues at the same, and your peers. You know, we're as good as each other. We're level. You know, no reason why we wouldn't be polite to each other's. And there's this idea of I can't remember who said it off the top of my head, but the true measure of a man is how he treats his inferiors, so the people underneath you. So even if you are manager of somebody else, it doesn't give you the right to talk to them like pap. You know, it doesn't negate the necessity to be polite and speak to somebody like a human being as well. So it doesn't matter who we're talking to, you know, politeness, and you know, hopefully will be reciprocated. But it like I say, it goes a long way and can certainly help build those relationships around others. You know, like if somebody sees you, again, if you're in the gym, if you like have got a load of sweat on the machine and you wipe it down, somebody else of course might see that, and you know, they should be doing that themselves anyway, but that might be okay, like I'll start doing that then. I haven't thought of that, you know. So yeah, it's not just about how we speak to each other, it's how we treat each other as well. Okay then, so the next one, teamwork. So teamwork, something that you need to be able to, something that you need, okay, that's what, something that you need in order, there we go, something that you need in order to be able to work well with others. And of course, like I say, it is a little bit of teamwork. Some people work or feel that they work best on their own, and there are positions, again, coming back to the workplace, there are positions and job roles out there that those sort of individuals would thrive in. But there are other areas, and a lot of areas in some way, shape, or form are going to require you to work as part of a team. It's no different from, I do the health and well-being stuff with Media Savvy, but I'm also working constantly with everybody back at the office as well, getting our heads together, and being part of the team is always been one of my favorite things about the place. We've got a really good team in, and it's a pleasure to be part of, and like I say, that's everybody pulling together with a good sort of amount and a good understanding of teamwork. There's no lone wolves, and like I say, being able to work with other people, like we talked about last week, when it comes to especially delegating and stuff like that, managing your time a little bit. Can you say, right, you do that, I'll get this done. Same again, it can make things a lot more. Coming back to the other slide that we looked at, it can actually make getting a task done, a little bit of teamwork, can keep you organized. It can be more professional. You might show understanding as well, based on who are you assigning to what task, who's doing what. If you're splitting up into a team, realizing, okay, I'm good at interacting with people, I'll be the customer service sort of phase of things. You're good with technology, you could design the software, like that sort of thing. And being able to work as a team brings all of these other skills in as well. Being professional in relation to the rest of your team, being confident in your team's ability and in your ability to do the one task that you're doing, and it can even make you a little bit more motivated. I know I can certainly say that I'm more motivated working as a team than I would be individually. Other people and the connection to other people has always got more out of me, so teamwork can be a really big thing depending on what it is that you're doing. Again, it could be in the gym, and it might be a little bit of a different sort of teamwork, but at the same time, like if you get to a machine, like, and say to somebody, oh, how many sets have you got left on there? And they're like, oh, I'm doing I've got 10 sets left for whatever reason. And you're like, I don't want to stand around and wait that long, but I need to be on this machine. The teamwork where everybody benefits would just be you doing your set while he rests or she rests, and then reverse. You just take it in turns, change the weights around or whatever it is, and then while that one person's resting, the other person can jump in. That's a little bit of sort of kind of, it's more informal, but it's still teamwork. It is still teamwork. Okay then, guys, last two. So we've got problem solving. Hi, Wib. I think my chat is a little bit behind, buddy. But nice, mate. I've got one eye on the chat. I hope you're well there this morning, buddy. And you're having a good week, mate. Okay, so problem solving, the ability to handle a difficult or unexpected problems. Something will always come up that you're not expecting. It might be, you go to print something off and the printer's knackered, or, you're going to do a presentation with somebody else and that other person doesn't show up, or they're ill that day, or whatever. Sometimes you might need a little bit of problem solving on the spot. How are you going to deal with it? Like I just mentioned a second ago, maybe you go to, you need a bit of kit in the gym, but somebody else is using it. Okay, bit of problem solving. How are you going to deal with that? Can you do the same exercise with a different bit of kit? Or can you go up to them and say, look, I've noticed you're sort of resting every now and then. While you're resting, can I jump on and do mine? Problem solving. And that can link in quite a little bit with using your initiative as well. The ability to be resourceful and work without always being told what to do. So that used to come up, and again, thinking about it from a PT's point of view, I needed to be able to, again, using that exact example, somebody's using the bench press machine or the chest press machine that I want to be on. I need to problem solve and think of an alternative to do with my client, and I need to use my initiative. It's not helpful if I need to wander off and find my manager or find somebody else in the gym and be like, oh, somebody's on that machine, what should I do instead? It's so much easier if I can go, okay, chest press machine's being used, there's a free bench over there and there's some dumbbells. Let's go and do the same exercise, but with the dumbbells instead. Use a little bit of initiative. Like I say, freeing up usually your manager, whoever would be the next in line from you. Use a little bit of initiative. You don't always need to double check something to just know that you're sort of doing the right thing, really, or to feel confident that you're doing the right thing, or working around it. So yeah, a little bit of initiative goes a long way as well. Okay then, guys, so that is a good time to actually just spin on into our final unit. Actually, it's our final unit that we've got to do. This would normally be done as a group, and you'll notice that the wording in the workbook is to be done as a group as well. But because of COVID, because we are online and we're doing these classes digitally, we're going to need to cover it just ever so slightly different. So whereas we'd normally be a team and everybody would double up, and or when we're talking about sort of delegating, everybody would have a job and they'd go and do that job. Now we're just going to have to do it individually, because we are sort of working from home and working by ourselves. Wib, I'm not entirely sure if this is a course that you've done before. I'm guessing so. And if you have, it'd be quite interesting to know what fitness class you designed, because that's what we're going to sort of gear up towards, designing our own fitness class and talking about what makes it different as well, and what makes it unique. So here we go then, guys. Let's flex the old creative muscle. We're going to create our own fitness session. Here is some previous ideas. So we've got cycling in water. So these aren't ever any classes that I've come across before. So I'm just thinking cycling in water, it's a little bit unique. It's almost putting two forms of exercise together. You're getting obviously the extra resistance, so it can be harder to cycle, and at the same time, I guess the water takes your weight a little bit, so you're not sitting on the bike, you're not slouching quite so much. Gravity's not going to have the effect that it might have if you were hunched over a bike. And do you know what? I've spent a lot of time on gym bikes, not weighing as much and having to press on that seat with your bum quite as hard could be a godsend. It really could, Then they tend not to be the comfiest, and the less you weigh, the less you're pressing down onto that bike seat as well. So there could be a lot of benefits to cycling in water. I'm sure whoever came up with that idea would be thinking about, the sort of people they were aiming the class at, and like I say, what benefits do you want people to get from the class? But that would definitely be unique, and that is one that I think has sort of since actually come into reality. I'm sure this is actually a class that you can go and do. Where is it? Cycling class in water. Aquacycling, they call it. Aquacycling, indoor cycling class that takes place in a pool. You get on stationary bikes that are submerged in 3 to 4 feet of water, so you're not entirely underwater, obviously. Otherwise, you'd need a snorkel or some scuba kit, and then you pedal against the resistance of the water. Yeah, so like I say, that is a class that is actually in existence now. So we had a bit of a visionary came up with that one. Parent and child boxing, again, is a really good idea in the sense that it could get kids involved as well. Not only getting kids involved to the sense where, parents haven't got to think about childcare and leaving them with somebody else. Maybe it's not only paying for the cost of the class, but also the cost of a babysitter as well to even get to it. Not in this case, bring your kid with you, you get to hold the pads, they're going to do some boxing stuff, and it's a good form of fitness for them as well. So it's sort of like, it ticks a lot of boxes. It's a little bit different. We're getting parents and kids involved. Everybody's getting a bit of a workout. The kids are getting exercise, which, we all know the kids these days could probably do with a little bit more exercise. We've got too much junk food that's cheap and it readily available, and too many video games and screens and distractions. So yeah, anything like this where we'd be able to bring the kids along, get them involved. It's bonding as well, so that they're creating memories. So there's going to be that emotional attachment to the class as well. You know how much energy kids have got. If you get in from work one night and you're absolutely tired and you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to go to that class tonight, and then your kid comes downstairs and they're ready, like, oh, are we going boxing tonight? You're much more likely to, okay, come on then, okay, let's go. So it could keep you motivated and keep you committed as well. Stretch and strengthen is a kind of similar thing. There's kind of stuff that I've done in a couple of sessions before in the past, where you'll do a little bit that is aimed at stretching muscles and getting them longer, more supple, and then you'll do a section of the class that is more to do with strengthening those muscles. And that's not necessarily doing a load of strength work, but it is trying to strengthen muscles through specific movements that might not get done specifically in the gym. For example, you've got a lot of muscles in your hip. Your leg can move in a lot of directions from your hip. When we exercise, we use a lot of the same muscles doing the same exercise over and over again, and it's sometimes helpful to, like I say, strengthen some of the other muscles as well. So it could be very similar to like a yoga Pilates sort of thing, but the aim is to isolate these smaller muscles that don't get much work and to really strengthen them. So when we're doing other stuff, our body's a little bit more robust, I guess you could say. Penalty forfeit. Penalty forfeit can be anything. I used to do a class where I used to get people to we would do whatever exercise we were doing on a trampoline. So we would have like so almost like a mix of duck duck goose, but kind of like everybody would be doing burpees, and the first person that stopped for a breath would need to run on the outside of the circle. They're doing they're doing a forfeit because they were the first ones to stop. So there's all sorts of different ways you can do it. You can make it. We used to have this giant deck of cards actually that we used to have and we did all sorts with them. Clubs would be burpees, spades would be press ups, diamonds would be squats, or whatever it might be. And the class would run that way. But if you pulled the joker card, you had to do, trying to think about some of the places that I did it, you would have to do, if we were in a gym, I'd make them do shuttles up and down the stairs, or do lengths of the gym, or, pick a couple of heavy things up, carry them down to the end of the gym and come back with them, whatever it might be. A little bit of a forfeit. It can make it a little bit more interesting as well, a little bit more fun, especially if, you've got some teams going on. Say, for example, you've got 2 teams of 5, you've got an obstacle course or a circuit to work through, and the team that is the slowest has to do a forfeit at the end. We used to, boot camp, we used to make it the team that won got to pick the forfeit for the other team. So it would be, right, you've got to do 2 minutes of sort of tuck jumps, or right, you've got to do 20 burpees, or whatever it might be. Like I say, it can make it a little bit more interactive as well, and make it a little bit more of a giggle, a little bit less formal, and a little bit more sort of interactive for everybody that's there. Rock blading isn't anything that I've ever come across before. Let's see, just like the aqua spin, see if it's ever gone on to be anything. So this seems to be something to do with eyebrows. That can't be right. So if anybody has any ideas about blading could be, then shout out and let me know, because this is one of the ones that one of our learners came up with in the past when Mel was running the session. So rock blading, I'm gonna have to find out. The suspense is gonna kill us. Then we've got night walking, which is it's exactly what it does exactly what it says on the tin. So they say. So night walking, like I say, there's a lot of walking in groups, kicking about, rambling groups, stuff like that. One thing that I haven't seen is a group that specializes or or sort of specifically does it on an evening, you know. Some of us prefer the evening in the dark a little bit more, you know, especially this time of year. You know, you've got no choice really but to like try and make the most of the dark a little bit. And you know, sometimes we've got to do some of our sort of day-to-day stuff in the dark, because of course we have less sort of daylight hours throughout the winter. But night walking, you know, you'd see different. Of course, you see everything in a bit of a different light, you know. Funny this actually, I through lockdown, I didn't do much driving in general, but no driving at night. I had no reason to. And then not so long ago, I needed to go somewhere. Obviously, it's getting dark a bit earlier, sorry. And I needed to go somewhere, and it was already dark, and it was the first time driving in the dark in a while, and your surroundings look a little bit different sometimes. So, you know, maybe just to change things up for yourself a little bit, you'd rather go out and, you know, walk a route that you've done before, but do it at night, see what the difference is. Is there different wildlife that you can see? You know, maybe you just prefer it a little bit more quiet and a little bit more peaceful, you know. So something like this, night walking, can you meet up together as a group and sort of plan out a walk? You might need some extra stuff in terms of safety, in terms of lights, high vis vest, whatever it might be. But like I say, night walking's it's an interesting idea actually, because it's not a fitness class that requires you to be at a certain level of fitness. You know, the majority of us could go along and do a night walking class, you know. Even if you were, say, even if you were in a wheelchair or whatever, you know, you could go along, and even just going along, you know, if you're wheeling it yourself, you're using your upper body muscles. At the end of the day, you're out and about getting some fresh air as well. You're probably socializing with other people, so you can get a lot of good out of the session just by turning up, you know. But night walking, like I say, is something that would be accessible for a lot more people than, say, parent-child boxing. Not everybody's got a kid. I couldn't go to parent-child boxing. So again, thinking about who we're trying to appeal to, you know, who do we want to turn up to the class? Who do you think would get the most out of it? So have a bit of a think, guys. Can you think of something that's a little bit different, something a little bit fun, a little bit quirky or original? I seen one class a few years ago now called Pound, and maybe you've done it. I think Mel used to teach it actually, and I know that there are other places in the northeast that do it. It's called Pound, and what you get really is essentially like they're a mix between, they're halfway between a drumstick and a baton that you pass to each other in like a relay, and you use them for almost like drumming along, like sort of movements. So like, for example, you might be sort of sitting on the floor, leaning back, you've got your feet up, so your abs are engaged, you know, you're drumming over there, then down over to the left, down to the right, back to the start, and your abs are working the whole time. You know, you might be doing big slams one side, then the other side. It looks so cool. I don't know whether that's just me as a drummer, but that's, I could really get into something like that, you know, like drumming itself's enough of a workout sometimes. So realizing sort of like I say, the health benefits you can get from it, it's quite amazing actually. So I mean, there's that I know is out there. There's one called Boogie Bounce, where everybody gets their own little trampoline, and you know, it's almost like, a lot of them have got like the mini personal trampolines. They've got the little handlebar on the front, so you can grab hold of the handle and, you know, give it a bit Gangnam style. A lot of exercises, believe it or not, are harder on a trampoline than they are on a normal floor, and that took me by surprise actually. You know, if you're trying to do a squat and you're on sort of terra firma, a hard surface, you're not struggling for balance quite so much. You know, you've got a good foundation. On a trampoline, you know, your weight distribution changes, the trampoline moves, and it does make it that little bit harder as well. So yeah, trampolines, like I say, these sort of weighted drumstick sort of ideas. There's stuff out there using kettlebells. You know, you could maybe do a class that sort of relied on, think about it this way, like think about what boxing, think about with boxing, how, of course, boxing, two guys in a ring trying to punch living daylight out of each other. But we've got fitness classes based on sort of the principles of boxing, normally called something like boxercise. So you go along, yeah, you're hitting the pads, you've got the gloves on, someone else is doing the pad work, you're moving, you're burning calories, but at no point does anybody try and punch you in the head. Like, that's the sort of thing I would rather do. So we can actually get benefits of a sport without necessarily training for that specific sport. I would never want to go along and do, proper sparring boxing. It's never been my sort of thing. But going along to a class where I know, right, I'm going to have a couple of minutes on the pads, then we'll swap, and you will, and nobody's going to try and actually punch each other. But you're getting the benefit, because you can look at boxers and see the condition that a lot of them are in. A lot of them, they're not carrying much body fat. It's because what they're doing just burns through calories. It really does. It's so intensive. So think about that. Is there any sports that you like that, maybe the way that you would train for that sport might give you a lot of benefit? Like, I remember a couple of years ago, I saw a video of Kobe Bryant training with the Lakers, and he didn't even have the ball. Nobody had the ball. What he was doing, he was getting people to run at him, trying to find a way around him, and he was using his footwork to block off their path. And there was no ball involved, but he was absolutely wringing with sweat, and everybody else was knackered. And I was thinking, like that sort of thing, like that sort of training would make like a foundations for a pretty good class. You're doing a lot of the stuff. If you wanted to get a ball involved as well and be like, right, one of the drills that they do in basketball is like, run to this end. I'll pass you the ball on the way past. Go and do a layup and try and get it in the hoop, then run back round up to the other hoop. I'll pass you another ball on the way past, and you do the same at the other end. Like that sort of thing. You're thinking about the shots that you're putting up, but you're getting so much sort of fitness and so much cardio in the meantime. That sort of thing could make up like the foundation for a pretty good class. We've got stuff like body pump that's out there, where you've got your own little barbell and you put your own weights on the side, and then you're doing, you might do a full track, where you might do sort of like nothing but biceps. I remember turning up for Mel's body pump class the first time ever, not really knowing what it was, and it absolutely wiped the floor with us, because I was never used to training for endurance and for repetition, and to be able to do the same thing for 3 minutes on end. I was like, I'll do 10 reps with my biceps and I'll move on to something else, or I'll have a little break before I do my next set. And then I turned up a body pump, and it was like, right, this song's all biceps. So you'd be doing it to the tempo of the music, you'd be doing controls, you'd be putting the still different angles and stuff, but it's all the same muscle. And I got about 2 minutes in, and the muscle just went, nah, we don't do this. This isn't how we work. And the more I went to that and started teaching it, the more my body sort of got better at doing that sort of thing. But like I say, that's a totally different effect altogether, doing like 3-4 minutes all on one muscle and then moving on to something else. Even circuits, you would probably do like a leg exercise, shoulders, then arms, then cardio or whatever, not like 3, 4, 5 minutes on the same thing altogether. So body pump was a little bit different in that sense. There are classes out there that use specific bits of kit like kettlebells, TRX. I don't know if there are any classes that use battle ropes, because they're hard to have enough for more than 1 or 2 people at once. But yeah, there's so much stuff that we can use. It can be a mix of stuff. It can be specific to one thing. I mean, look at spin. All you use is the bikes. Could you make a medicine ball class, a kettlebell class? Do you want a mix of everything? If you're going to do that, how do we make it a little bit different? What makes it quirky, really, I guess you could say. From there, you can use today's new workbook to start making a list of your ideas. So for task 1.1 in the workbook, start listing your ideas, aim for a minimum of 5, and then from there, try and narrow it down to 1, and just try and pick one that you can then research a bit further maybe, and then develop a little bit further as well. So yeah, guys, that's task 1.1. And there's so many different options for what we can do out there. So these are some of the things that we want to think about. So what benefits is your new session going to have? Are we thinking about cardiovascular fitness? You know, is it more of a strength-based class? Is it, you know, coming back to parent-child boxing? Is it important family time? Does that make it is that a selling point? Are you working on your balance? That sort of thing? Because there's a certain target audience out there that would really appeal to as well. It could be improving your mental health and your mood, and it might be just sort of like a feel-good class, you know, something like even something like yoga, Pilates, that sort of thing is really good for your mental health, that meditation, that mindfulness side of things. It could be motor skills, you know, it could be doing basic things. I used to do chair-based exercises in care homes. So go into care homes, get everybody to sort of gather around, or, you know, they would already be gathered around when I got there. And I would do different stuff with them. But what that might be would be, I mean, I used to have these, they were like squishy balls, but of different strength. So kind of like with a resistance band, but they were ball shaped. And they were just for gripping and squeezing, and for strengthening like the hand muscles. And of course, going into a care home, that was something that was really important. Like, not everybody had the capability of clenching their fist. So over time, taking these in and going around, getting everybody to have a minute, have a squeeze, you know, get used to that feeling, start to strengthen those muscles, loosen those joints again, and in time start to see an improvement in a lot of people. So again, that wasn't, you know, that wasn't me going in and shouting at, you know, a room full of 20 people that had just woken up from their afternoon nap and telling them to come and get on the weights. You know, that would be unreasonable. But what I was doing, I was getting them to do stuff that was improving their motor skills. You know, can you even just put your hands up above your head, that sort of thing, maybe, you know, all motor skills, all coordination, balance. You know, some people could stand up, test their balance. Some people could, like I say, stand up for 5 seconds, then sit yourself back down. Other people were capable of standing up, and then I would say, right, can you stand on one leg? That sort of thing as well. So there's so much that we can do. It's not all about lose weight, you know, get down to a size 0. You know, that's not what it's all about, guys. There's so many different health benefits. So again, think about what you would like to see in that class as well. What would you like to see in the class? What would suit you, but isn't available, and isn't out there? You know, it's not already something that you could go and do. Can you make it up? You know, what would it look like? What sort of class would it need to be to get you there? You know, even if it was just, you know, like we say, improving your mental health or your mood, you know, something that's a bit of a laugh, something that's relaxing. It doesn't all have to be intense. Like, it's not all insanity. Okay then, so above are just a handful of benefits that certain fitness activities may improve. Can you add any more? Like we say, it could be anything. It could be flexibility. It could be from like a stretching class, and you might want to be thinking about your flexibility. It might be stuff like body pump that works on your muscular endurance instead of your strength. You know, you're not lifting anything heavy, but you're doing it for a long time. You know, could it be something that works on reaction time a little bit as well? You know, I've seen different classes that are sort of geared up that way. Again, could you put a forfeit element in as well? You know, I'd seen something the other week on I can't remember what form of social media it was, probably YouTube, to be honest, because I don't really use much other social media. It was a game, and it was like everybody was stood in a circle with their legs sort of as wide as they could get them, or maybe it's not quite that wide, but relatively wide. Everybody's feet were touching, so it was a closed circle. Everybody's feet were touching each other. And there was one ball, and what they were doing was just forming like you would with a volleyball, just sort of interlacing their fingers, stooping forward, and treating the gap between their legs as a goal, and trying to knock it through the opposition's legs. And if you got it, if the ball went through your legs, you were eliminated. You moved out of the way. Everybody moved a little bit closer. So that's like a little bit of reaction time. People, obviously, they don't know whose legs you're going to try and get it through. Somebody sort of looks like they're going to shoot that way, and then they chuck it towards you last second. You've got to react to that, and you've got to stop it. And then, like I say, if they get it through your legs, is there a forfeit involved? Do you have to do something till everybody else is out? Like a wall sit maybe, or maybe you've got to do a lap around somewhere, or you've 20 star jumps or whatever it is. Can you put like that little bit of a forfeit in there as well? I'm aware I've probably explained that like the concept terribly. It's not a fitness class. It was just a game I'd seen a couple of mates all playing, but the same again, it gives us like a little bit of an idea of, that's quite good for reaction time and stuff like that. Another one they were doing, they were standing back to back, just two people. One had the ball and the other one was chucking it up and above their head. And the other one obviously doesn't have much time to react as it comes over their head, and they've got to catch it. Yeah, and if they dropped it, again, there was a forfeit to do, whatever that might be. So lots to think about, guys, lots to think about. There's so much opportunity and there's so many different options out there. We should all be able to get something, hopefully a little bit unique, and a little bit interesting as well. And if you're struggling for ideas, drop us an email, or like I say, pop something in the chat, and I'll do my best to help you sort of commit to something, I guess, talking about commitment, just finalize, decide on something, and then you can go away and start moving forward with it. Okay, just before we spin on to the next slide, I'm just going to dig the charger out and plug my laptop in because I'm getting the old blinky light. So 2 seconds, and then we'll be able to just roll on. Okay, so where are we? So how can we modify each of the following from your session? So once you've got your idea down, or maybe even just while you are sort of loosely still considering a couple of different options, want to think about certain things that you might need to modify based on who it's aimed at, the benefits that you'd want people to take away from the class, and health and safety as well, making sure that everybody is capable working at their own, suitable for the class as well, and making sure that like I say, the session is suitable to who we're trying to aim at. So, like I say, making it suitable for children. You couldn't just take a boxercise class, for example, and change it out and swap some of the adults for kids, because some of the stuff that you do at boxercise wouldn't be suitable for children. It'd be no good for the kids to have the pads and the parents be sort of going crazy on them, so you've got to make sure it's suitable for children if that is something that you're trying to factor in. It might not be, but yeah, you might need to think about some of these things, or maybe all of them, depending on what you're doing. Is it suitable for certain disabilities, or I guess more accurately, what disabilities would it be suitable for? Some disabilities would be okay. Is there certain things where you would need to modify it to make it suitable to other disabilities? Again, depending on who you're trying to appeal to. It would have been no good me going into the care home to work with elderly, sort of vulnerable individuals, but then be like running it like an insanity class and expecting people to jump and lift heavy stuff and whatever it might be. So I need to think about, okay, what disabilities am I dealing with here? Sometimes obviously like a little bit of blindness, could be deafness, sort of like mutism. So there's all sort of different stuff that you're going to come across. It's very hard to make one class or one activity suitable for all disabilities. So same again, just think about how accessible it actually is. Who are you trying to sort of aim it at? If you're sort of it could be a class, for example, that is aimed at the components of fitness that you would need to develop to be good at doing like a triathlon. Yeah, so I imagine that there would be some small amount of swimming involved, there'd be some kind of running involved, and probably a little bit of cycling. depending on what it was going to be. So if there's stuff like cycling involved, of course, you don't really need to make that, and swimming involved, you don't necessarily need to make that session accessible to wheelchair users. But again, chair-based exercise, because of who I was aiming those classes at, I needed to consider stuff like wheelchairs and, bad hips, bad knees, can't hear very well, can't see very well, whatever it might have been. Okay, the length of the session. Again, how intense is it going to be? How long is it going to be? Don't want it so short that people think that they haven't worked hard enough and it's been a waste of time and money. You also don't want it to drag on forever, where people are like just kind of wishing it was done because they're bored of doing whatever it is for however long. Or maybe, like I say, depending on how hard you want it to work, what benefits are you hoping to get? Be thinking about how long you're going to make that session. You can even start to think about at that point, hypothetically, what would you be charging people? Like I say, how many of these sessions are you going to run a week, which actually links into this next one, the frequency of your session. If it's a session that's running every night, ideally, don't make Monday's session a session that's going to absolutely wreck everybody, because the chances of people coming on Tuesday, hiccups, are probably quite slim in that case as well. So think about how frequent it is. Like I say, what you're going to be asking people to do, what recovery do they need between doing that session? Would you give people a day off in between? Maybe it's a couple of days. And again, that's entirely up to you. If it's something that you're planning on doing every day and would expect to see the same faces every day, maybe don't make it quite as intense. So there's all sorts of things to think about as well. And then there's being simple and advanced. So you might be giving somebody an exercise and one person might find it too hard, somebody else might find it too easy. So you might need to think, and again, coming back to those other skills, you might need to do a little bit of problem solving, where you need to think about, okay, how do I adjust this? Maybe you're organized enough to think in advance, how am I going to change this if this comes up? That's what I always try to do. I'd be like, right, okay, I'm doing this exercise. If somebody finds this hard, what alternative am I going to give them that is a similar sort of effect? As opposed to somebody saying, oh, Rob, I'm actually finding this one quite hard. And I start panicking and flapping because I'm looking around trying to find something quick for them to do instead, So again, that was where a bit of organization, a bit of forethought would come into play. So sometimes you need to make things a little bit easier. Sometimes you need to make things a little bit harder. Again, you don't want people feeling like they've just sort of turned up and are wasting their time and their money. And at the same time, you don't want it so hard that people are thinking, I can't do this, I'm never going to be able to do this, and they stop coming as well. So it's finding that middle ground where it's challenging, but manageable, and that is always going to differ from person to person, really. So these are just a couple of the different things that we could and might have to consider and modify to meet the needs of the end user. Now, that's up to you who the end user is supposed to be, because like I say, you're developing the class, you know who it's aimed at. It could be existing athletes, what sort of stuff might they need? It could be cyclists, it could be a class that sort of works on cycling, but rather than spin, for example, where you spend the whole session on a bike, maybe you do 10 minutes on a bike and then you get off and do some weights. Maybe you measure how far you're going on a bike. Maybe you do 50 squats in as short a time as you can, followed by a mile on the bike, whatever it might be, and then just think about who you're aiming that at, who would you like to turn up, who do you think could get the most out of that session, and you can start to hopefully develop some ideas from there and start to get an idea of what the class would actually look like. Okay, so now it's time for the fun part, and I can actually hand over to you guys and you can start to get some ideas down yourself. Something to think about. What makes your session or your idea the best session in the Northeast, in theory? Yeah. What would be a big selling point? How would you promote it? What would you say to people is would be a draw? What would make it appeal to people? So that could be stuff like it's cheap, it's cost effective, flexible times. Maybe you offer a morning class and an evening class for people who can't get to one or the other. Maybe you also run a session or two on a weekend for people who struggle to get there during the week. So thinking about flexible times as well. Again, is it suitable for the whole family? Can you bring the kids along? Is it something that essentially a household of 4 could turn up and do, and everybody would be just as involved? Because that would be a really big selling point, if you've got everybody in the house all at the same time, right? We're all in from school and work, get your stuff, we're going out to do this fitness class, and it's bonding as well, like I say. It might be that it is suitable for disabilities and it's a wheelchair friendly class or whatever it might be. There's it could be one specific disability, or it could be suitable for a wide range of different disabilities that would require a different sort of planning approach. Of course, most classes really should fit into this category in one way, shape or form, but it is always a good thing to have and will keep people coming back. The fact that you can alter it to make it easier or harder, really, there are certain things that I guess that, might be quite difficult to make a little bit easier. Say battle ropes, for example, they weigh however much they weigh. So, if you've got someone who wouldn't necessarily be able to do that, or skipping, for example, is there a way that you can make it easier or harder for people who aren't able to do one or the other? And then I guess your cell could just be your venue, really. What is it that you're doing? Where are you doing it? Down on the beach? Is it stretching on the beach? Is it yoga in a little small studio that you've got nice and sort of cozy and toasty warm and set up like a proper little Zen area? I used to work in a gym that was a converted church that that in itself used to bring people in. The venue, working out in front of the stained glass window, being up on the sort of balcony at the top and looking down onto the gym floor where the pews used to be, that was now obviously gutted out, and people could do sort of shuttle runs and tire flips or sled pushes up and down there. It was a really cool venue to train in, and I don't believe it's still there anymore. I don't think it's a gym anymore, but it was so cool. It was so different and so unique. That in itself used to bring people in. So like I say, sometimes it's just the location and the venue in itself. Maybe you're doing it'd probably be a one-off, but maybe you're doing a class that's like that one that was night walking. Maybe you're just picking a different place week on week. Maybe it's just regular walking, but you're going to hire a minibus, and the cost might be factored in the class. You're going to hire a minibus and take everybody to do a walk somewhere in particular. Like that same gym actually at one point got everybody together, like got members together, got a minibus and went and did the 3 peak challenge all in one day. So they went to one, did the peak, came back down, got in the van, they'd drive them to the next peak and they'd go and do the next one. So again, that was a one-off, or that maybe has only happened every 6 months, but that was something a little bit different as well. So again, think about how regular these classes are going to be. Even stuff like that, that's sort of like running once or twice a year, just because of how practical it is to do. It could be something you could think about as well, something that doesn't happen as often, but it's something that is really different and really unique when you do get around to doing it. So yeah, hopefully you're starting to get some ideas now, or just realizing how much freedom you've got with this and how much fun you could have with this. So plenty to think about there, guys. Okay, so just before we we've got another couple of slides to do. So the benefits in general of being fit and healthy, of course, are many that we've talked about so far throughout this course as well. But just a little bit of a recap as well. Just the feeling of first of all, longevity, which is why a lot of us train, so our body parts last longer. Our skeleton gets plenty of support from our muscles, like that sort of thing. We're not needing hip replacements, knee replacements until like as old as possible, really, if we can put it off. longevity is a big benefit from just being fit and healthy, in the fitness of your heart, your lungs, and like I say, just your body in general. You only get one. Look after it. It is your vessel at the end of the day. Like I say, it's where you are. It's where the mind is. It's where the self is. And like I say, you only get one. So we've got to look after it. There's the mental side of things as well, and the mental health side of things. Think of exercise in general releases chemicals and hormones in the body that make us feel a little bit better. It can help with our self-confidence and our self-esteem, which can help alleviate help like depression and depressive symptoms. Again, I would always say seek out whatever help that you thought would be necessary, especially like a GP or a counsellor or something like that. But health and well-being can go a long way, and you tend to find it's not a strict rule, but you tend to find those who are a little bit fitter, healthy, used to sticking to a regime and a training routine and stuff like that, tend to keep on top of their mental health a little bit better. And of course the fitness and the chemicals that gets released into your system really help with that. So not just depression, but happier. Just right happier. It might be making day-to-day tasks easier, stuff around the house, carrying shopping, looking after the kids, doing the hoovering, whatever it might be, making day-to-day stuff a little bit easier, less sort of exhausting, less challenging. Might be through giving you more energy as well. It's funny that people who exercise regularly tend to have more energy than those who don't. More sort of get up and go, more drive, more natural sort of forward drive. When you would think they should be spending their extra energy in the gym. What gives? What's going on there? And like I say, it's that sort of that positive effect of exercise that just makes you feel more capable. It makes you feel like you've got more energy. Not to mention, if you're exercising, your food's probably going to be a little bit better as well, and you're going to get a more consistent and higher quality source as well. And then, going, not just making day-to-day tasks easier, but also the other end of the spectrum where you can take part in more maybe specialized activities. Maybe you'd like to try a spin class, but you don't feel fit enough at the minute, or maybe you don't feel like you'd be able to do it. I had that quite a lot actually. People would say to me, "Oh, I'm not fit enough to do that class," and I'd say that's the point of the class, to get you to the point where you're a little bit fitter, and the class will come to your level. You don't necessarily have to rise to the level of the class. But yeah, this ability to be able to go out and do a little bit more, join in with more, because at the end of the day, some stuff does require that little bit of fitness. It might even be going for a walk with the family, and everybody else is relatively fit and healthy, but you're wanting to stop to sit down every 10-15 minutes to get your breath and to catch a breather. So yeah, lots and lots of benefits to just generally being fit and healthy. And it's a scale. It's not a case of you're either fit and healthy or you're not. Some people are fitter and healthier than others, not so much as others as well. It is a scale, and it's not necessarily a case of I'm at this end of the scale and I need to be at the right end of the scale. It's a case of I'm here on the scale and I need to be one notch higher on the scale. That's all I need to focus on for now. One notch higher on that scale, a little bit of a time, and it makes it short. It makes it simple, small baby steps. And it makes it manageable as well, which makes you a lot easier to be consistent at it as well. Okay then, guys, so over to you. Where do you start? So the following tasks need to be completed. So choosing and researching a new fitness idea. Remember, it can be completely made up. Create an argument why your session is the best in the Northeast, including health benefits, how flexible and versatile it can be, and how it is unique. Create an A4 poster advertising your new session. If you wanted to do a PowerPoint, you could and deliver it to me that way. But entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. Hiccups are killing us. Then create a plan of action using page 5 of your booklet. Once you're ready to present your poster, get in touch, let me know, and we'll organise a one-to-one Zoom meeting again like we did before. Immediate feedback can be discussed to help you complete page 6 of your final booklet. And then that should be your last booklet done, guys. Congratulations, happy days, we're nearly there. Okay, so we'll leave it there then. That was everything that we needed to go over, and I don't want to interrupt those creative juices that are probably flowing by now. You've maybe got some ideas. Switch over to that workbook, guys, get it downloaded, and start getting some ideas down. Even if you just grab a pen and paper right now, if you're worried about some ideas, again, sort of up and leaving you. So yeah, let's start getting some stuff on paper, and hopefully by next week we'll have those ready to go and can start booking in our one-to-ones as well. So we will be back next week, next Wednesday, 10 till 12 again, where we'll be recapping everything we've looked at so far over the last 12 weeks and taking one last look at healthy eating and nutrition. Just to sort of recap on something that we covered earlier in the session, and something that is going to be a big percentage of probably any fitness journey going forward, is always going to be your food and nutrition. As they say, we can't out-train a bad diet. So our food has to go along with that as well. So thank you for logging in, guys. Please don't forget to do that survey. It's not even 30 seconds. Using today's session and presentation, the workbook and the booklet that you're looking for this week, and the new one is called the Sport and Active Leisure Project. So if I actually just I'll load that up quick just so you can see which one you're looking for. Right. Right, bear with us 2 seconds, everybody. Resources, Sport and Active Leisure Project. Coolio. Just let that load up. Okay, so I'll just share this across to you. Okay, guys, so this is the one that you're looking for, yeah? So you're going to be able to start writing some ideas down, finalize your chosen fitness session there. Then you can, of course, the individual responsible for all of these roles is going to be you, because we're doing this individually now and not as a group. And then from there, using the space below, come up with a plan to research your role within the group. So all you're going to do there is write, because you're researching everything, write down your plan, pretty much what's your plan to find the information that you need for your class and put it together. Then, like we say, I should be able to give you some feedback once it's been delivered. You can do your action point as well. You can, like I say, start to put in order what are you going to do, where are you going to start, and where are you going to finish up. And then after that, once you've delivered your presentation, a little bit of evaluation, what went well, and what you think could make it even better as well. And of course, like I say, that's something we can talk about once yours is done, dusted, and delivered. Signed, sealed, delivered, we could say. All right, guys, cool. So we'll leave it there. As always, thank you for logging in this morning. And thank you for watching back. Whenever you are watching this back, be it sort of an afternoon or an evening later on in the week, you know where my email is, you know all of those details, how to find me and get hold of me. If there's anything that you're struggling with, or if you have any questions at all. Until then, guys, stay safe, take care, look after those around you, and like I say, give me a shout if you need anything in the meantime. We'll be back next Wednesday to do our last session. Our last session next week, guys. So if you're already wanting to think ahead at some other courses that you might want to do this year, or you just like to be sort of kept in the loop of what courses we are running this year, again, let me know and I'll make sure you go onto some sort of mailing list or contact list, so we know to get in touch when we know a little bit more detail about what's coming up, certainly from January onwards. Okay, guys, so let's leave it there. Give me a shout if you need anything. Until then, like I say, take it easy, and I'll hopefully see everybody back here next Wednesday for our last session and to get this course wrapped up. Okay, guys, take it easy. Take care. Speak to you next Wednesday, if not before. Have a good week. Take care, guys. Bye.